going on, everybody? I've been cooling on my own, ain't gonna lie. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Late Night Show with Dr. Kojo. I'm your host, Dr. Kojo, and tonight is a very special Valentine's Day edition episode. I got some funny stories, and of course, we're gonna talk, a little bit about mental health and Valentine's Day. The good, the bad, loneliness, making friends. What this day means to you all. So, I can't wait to get into it. And as you all know, we start the show off the same way every time. I want to see where you all are checking in from. So let me know where you all are located at. And let me start by saying happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Oh, and before we get into it, I just want to say, y'all, keep in mind that the comment section is a place where we show love, not only to ourselves but to other people. So make sure that when you're commenting, you're putting love in the comments. Somebody left, a comment. I'm not gonna spend too much time on, but keep in mind, no bullying anybody. We're having a good time here. It's all love. It's all fun. Just I gotta mention that. Missouri in the house. Thank you, Marie. Valentine's Day from Buffalo. Go Bills. Cincinnati, Ohio. Somebody is also from Buffalo, 30 minutes south of Buffalo, Ohio, Texas, Rhode Island, Ohio, Maysville, Kentucky, Augusta, Spring Hill, Tennessee, Ohio. Ashley, thank you so much. Much love back. Shawty telling me she loved me, but I cannot tell a lie. New Jersey, Texas, Tennessee, Rhode Island. Brittany, thank you for coming on for the short time that you can come on. Rhode Island, Florida, Portland, Tampa. Shout out Tampa, Georgia, Michigan, California, Tennessee, Montreal, San Diego. Jennifer, I appreciate you. Gainesville, Florida in the house. Jersey, LA, Nashville. Go Bills. Eric Jossie. Oh boy, where's the love? Where's the love? I want to give a love of the show to everybody who watches me. Anybody who watches my content, you're inspired by what I do online. I want to go ahead and give you all a collective love of the show. Let's get into it. Today is Valentine's Day, and this is not one of my favorite holidays. I think it's commercialized, and it has a funny way of making people feel less than. So I think this holiday is somewhat incredibly toxic to certain people who are struggling with isolation, loneliness, depression, being by themselves. But at the same time, I thought about this today. I was like, you know what? Valentine's Day can be a perfect opportunity to show love to the people in our lives, and I show love to the people in my life every day, I think. But sometimes having a day where everybody stops to show love to the people that are in their lives every day, it's a beautiful thing because we go through the motions, we get busy, going back and forth, and sometimes people just need to hear that they're appreciated. Whether it's a small gesture, you don't have to rent out, the Dodger Stadium. You don't have to be Drake here. You just have to show up, and that's something that I tell myself because I'm not the best at doing that. Believe it or not, despite what you all see online, sometimes even Dr. K himself takes people for granted. So that's something that I'm working on, and making content is great. I've cracked the code. I know how to make the content for you all. I know what y'all want to see. You want to see mental health skits, dances, the different routines, ADHD, depression, OCD, bipolar. Like I know what you all want, and I figured out my craft. But as I expand and do my thing, 2 million followers is cool, but it's also important for me to not overlook the people in my life who are helping me on a daily basis. So that's that's a personal challenge for myself, something that I'm gonna do a better job of. And I thought that Valentine's Day is the perfect day to do that, to show love to people around you. It doesn't have to be this big romantic thing. It can be. That's what it's supposed to be. Let's not get it twisted. But it can be so many other different things. And before I get into my story, normally I go into a rant and then I open up the floor for comments. But I want to go ahead and get you all's thoughts, on Valentine's Day and how you all are feeling in general, because this is sort of like a thank you to y'all. Especially those of y'all on Facebook. 260,000 people have chosen to hit that follow button to me, and it means the world to me. I really appreciate it. As y'all know, I quit my job in Virginia to come out here to LA to do this full time for y'all. So it means a lot. It means a lot to me that you all would rock with me. Oh, someone says, dude. Oh my gosh. Whitney says, can you do your dance real quick? I love it. And so does my daughter. Okay. One, hey, and then, okay. Whitney, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Amanda says, instead of being sad, I'm spending the day alone. I decided to spend the day pampering myself. Valentine's Day this year was about self love and self care. Amanda, I like that. So I'm going to go ahead and give you a love of the show. Amanda, keep going, keep going. Brianna, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. The love from you all is the best. And Britt, my condolences to you, says your mother passed a year ago. So I definitely want to say, I'm sorry for your loss. And, I like the fact that you kept this tradition on with your brother, right? Like Valentine's Day doesn't have to be you and like your romantic partner. Like it can be familial. And I texted my sister today. I don't know what I thought by texting her. I texted the whole family, group message, but I also texted my sister, just to show some extra love. For whatever reason, I felt led to do that. Good day to love yourself too. Justine, I agree with that. I agree with that. Michael, I appreciate you. Thank you for having me. Now, I really, and also when I see guys who rock with me, not that I don't appreciate the ladies. Of course, I appreciate ladies, but when the guys rock with me, then I'm like, oh wow, guys do follow me because the overwhelming majority of my followers are, the ladies. So when the guys are also hip to the mental health content, I think that's pretty dope. So I do appreciate that. Judy, thank you so much. Judy, always been a supporter. I really appreciate you. Jillian, thank you so much. So this is like what y'all do right here, and y'all do this every day. Like I see these comments, I see these DMs. Whenever I do look at DMs, but I see these types of things all the time. Like people showing love, and this is a form of love. This is y'all, giving me a version of Valentine's Day that I did not really think about. Thank you so much, Jolene. Y'all overwhelming me with all these great comments. I appreciate you all. Ashley says, I enjoy Valentine's Day, not just celebrating the romantic love of my husband, but the other people I love in my life, like my mom. Adele, you also get love of the show. I like how you all are viewing this day, because it doesn't have to be a terrible day. And the only part that I didn't like about it is the fact that it's become commercialized, and this, like, you almost have to spend all this much money to prove a point. But sometimes, if there's nothing wrong with doing that, it's about, do you want to do that thing? Do you want to do that? Do you want to, send that person a text or spend whatever? It's about what you actually want to do. Hi, Jessica, I like that. Jessica says, about 7 p.m., I started looking on Facebook, looking for the live video ping. So I did not know that it gives y'all like a little ping. But I'd love to know more about that. Like if there's a way to get like notifications when I go live, I think that would be great, because then like it's a nightly show, right? Every Monday to Thursday, 6 o'clock on the West Coast, 9 o'clock on the East Coast. It's almost like the people who grew up watching like the Brady Bunch or whatever. Like it's your favorite show. So if it's your favorite show, I do appreciate that. Ryan, I appreciate you, man. Ryan F. McHenrick, I appreciate that. I appreciate you so much. And to talk about Valentine's Day, I was telling the people on Instagram earlier that I was going to tell a story of one time that I got played on Valentine's Day. So I'll tell this story, and after this story, we'll laugh about it a little bit. I thought I was going to wait till I go up on stage, and I was going to include it as a joke. But I probably have to work the joke out a little bit before I go on stage and perform it in my routine. But I'll talk about that, and then we'll talk a little bit about loneliness, because that's something that people talk a lot about on this day. And I want to talk a little bit about loneliness because I posted a video about loneliness and the detrimental effects of loneliness, and why you shouldn't, be a lone wolf, right? Try to have some people around you, even if it's virtual. But I want to talk about Valentine's Day and one of my personal experiences that I had with Valentine's Day, right? So we have to go all the way back to probably like 2015 or 2014, right? So it was this. This story is always embarrassing to tell y'all, but it was this girl that I liked back in undergrad, right? So talked to her a little bit, and to tell you the truth, y'all, I was afraid to talk to her while we were, classmates. So I figured, well, maybe if I graduate and I come back around, and now I have a little bit of money in my pocket, right? Now maybe I can take you out to like a nice little restaurant. Maybe now I can talk to you, right? So that's what I did, right? Started to talk to her a little bit more, texting back and forth. But the issue was, she lived in Alabama. I was in Georgia. But I don't know how the hell I plan to make this work out. But I was like, I like her, right? So we're talking, it's almost like a long distance type of thing. And we get to Valentine's Day. And then I remember she had said something about flowers. I'm like, all girls like flowers, right? But as a guy, how do you buy flowers, right? I had never bought flowers. Aside from the little dollar, the little cute ones. I'm like, how do you buy actual flowers? So, I went to Google and I was like, all right, okay, how to buy flowers. So I figured out that you could buy flowers online and they would ship it to that person's address. So I did that, and Valentine's Day comes around, right? And I timed it perfectly. I timed it perfectly so that, and this is back when all the girls would post everything on IG. I mean, it's still the same way now, but like I knew that she was gonna post these flowers on Instagram, right? So we get to February 14th, Valentine's Day, and she, like she knew that flowers were coming. It wasn't a surprise. So she posted flowers online on Instagram, right? And then I was waiting all day for it. And then I clicked her story. And as I clicked the story, I realized that she posted like another set of flowers. And then I'm like, oh, Mickey Ficky. So you mean to tell me that two guys must have sent her flowers? Because the flowers that I sent her were like red and white. This is like pink and something else. I don't know what types of flowers. There's different names for it, right? But I sent her some like red flowers. She's posting pink flowers on Instagram, and then she didn't realize that she made a mistake until a couple hours later. The uh, the pink flowers I got arrived at her doorstep, and I knew because like I got the confirmation. And then she took down the first set of flowers on Instagram, and at that point, she knew she had messed up, right? And I was telling myself, man, like it's just an evil world, you know. I called my homeboy, and like he was tripping out. He was like, "No, no, like how could she do that?" And long story short, like that was the end of that. Like we didn't talk any further after, like she had been exposed. She told her herself, she told her herself, and Rachel, yeah, keeps saying Mickey Ficky. Yeah, she told her herself, and I was like, man, Mickey Ficky, this is how people will do you. People will do you like this. And the funniest thing is that if my flowers had arrived at her house first, right? She could have posted that, and she could have held back the second set of flowers, and I would have never have known that she was talking to two guys at once. But you know how God works, right? He somehow my flowers had to end up coming to her house later, as opposed to coming first. And I just think it's a hilarious story, and it's funny because she actually, you know, she follows me on online now, and I think she reached out. She DM'd me about something. I forgot what she said, but it's just funny. Now I guess she's found my platform. She found the video somehow, some way. But I just thought that was funny. So, when people are sometimes, a little paranoid about getting out there and dating again, these things can happen, right? And this is meant to be a funny story for me to have gone through so that way I can come on Facebook Live or YouTube and tell you all this. But it shouldn't be something that makes you be like, oh, I'll never date again. Like, I think it's a funny story. Like, this is hilarious. And just looking back at it, I can call my homeboy, and tell him like the beginning of this story, and he'll finish it out. He'll be like, "Man, I remember this girl, so and so," and of course, I won't mention the name, but it makes for a good time, So there's so many Valentine's Day shenanigans, and I know if I ask y'all, like y'all have some tons of stories from past experiences and things like that. But I think if you can make it an enjoyable experience, because even though I didn't talk to that particular lady anymore, like I ended up laughing about it. It became a funny story, right? So now I'm telling online, and I hope to work out the story and throw it on stage one day. And someone says, "Send you flowers." Uh, and someone says, "I don't think you thought it was hilarious when it happened." Angie, when it happened, I didn't think it was funny. Like after the fact, at first I'm like, because I don't know how much the flowers cost. Maybe I'm guessing $80. And I don't know. Like I wasn't a no big baller back then. I'm still not no big baller right now. I'm an everyday working man. But at the time, no, it was not funny. It was not funny. It was not. It was not funny. It was something that I had to get upset about for a little bit. But it's all good, and it's good to, because I haven't forgotten that. Like, you know, if you ask me the last time I got played, I've probably been played before, but I can't remember anything since that particular incident in 2015. Um, but yeah, so it's all about, obviously, if you're sitting there today and Valentine's Day was not what you wanted, you can laugh about it after the fact, right? But you have to figure out, like in life, and this wasn't like, I wouldn't characterize this as like suffering, but like as the previous person commented, when it happened, like, yeah, I was steaming hot. I was like, you mean tell me I'm talking to you, FaceTiming you, you're talking to somebody else? Like if you're talking to, if it's between me and somebody else, pick the other person, please. Like go ahead. So I was in my feelings at that time, but after a while, it became like another funny story. But it's good to, and this goes beyond Valentine's Day. Actually, this is just a life lesson. Like you want to connect suffering or anything that is deemed to be unfortunate to some type of like why. Like you have to know why you're suffering, or else it's gonna be harder to endure that thing. So that's something I want y'all to think about when it comes to Valentine's Day. And Victoria gets a love of the show. Victoria Nicole, where are you from? Where are you from? Because this comment has made my day right here. Really glad I found this live. Best part of my Valentine so far. You gotta love the show, Victoria. Um, and when he says the story you told was worth the $80, yeah, I think it was worth the $80. It definitely was worth the $80. But like I told y'all, if you go through anything unfortunate in life, connect the suffering to a why. Like, yeah, you're suffering, but why? Like I come online, I'm happy, I'm living my life. This is probably the happiest I've ever been. Because I'm doing what I want to do on my own time. But it doesn't stop, it doesn't absolve me from having pain in my life and making tough decisions. I go through that stuff on a daily basis, but the overall end result is like some some sense of peace within, because like you're going through all these things, but I've connected my suffering to like a why, right? So whatever you're going through, you connect the suffering to some type of why. It makes it easier for you to get through it, right? And so it's just, I just got out of a youth group. Someone says you look tired. Make sure you're taking care of yourself. Why do people, Emily? Why do you think I look tired? People keep saying I look tired. It's the lotion. I don't know if it's like a black folk type of thing, but when we put Jergens on our face, maybe it's making me look older. If that's the case, I might need to find a new lotion outside of Jergens. But Emily left that comment probably with good intentions. Just make sure she's taking care. That I'm taking care of myself. So Emily, I appreciate that. But now I want to talk a little bit about loneliness, right? So we talked about the funny part. Let's talk about, you know, loneliness. So I posted a video today, and I know it was posted to Facebook as well, right? We're talking about loneliness, and I'm even talking with Dr. Joseph. It looks like we might talk about loneliness um, on TikTok next time we go live. Loneliness is an issue, y'all. Loneliness is a real, it's an issue. And I was looking at a state today. Megan says, oh, sorry. I'm 29 years old, for those of y'all asking. But I was looking at a stay today, because I had some time, so I was looking through it. And, I already know that loneliness can lead to mental health issues such as, depression, anxiety, and so much more, right? So loneliness and social isolation, two things that we have to be worried about, right? But obviously, like if I'm a mental health specialist, right? then I didn't need that study to tell me that loneliness can lead to those two things. Like I knew that already. But what was interesting in this study, and the wild thing is that the study is on my downstairs computer. But the interesting thing about the study is that it showed that loneliness and social isolation could also be bad for your cardiovascular health, right? And when you looked at it, it was almost as if, and I'm not no cardiologist, not my specialist, so not my thing. But breaking down the study almost looked like the lack of friends or being isolated. You know that there could be some correlation with that and like strokes, right? And cardiovascular, incidents. And that was interesting to me because I'm like, wow, it's good for your heart, like your actual heart, not like, oh, your heart, no, like your actual heart, to be around other people and to be connected, whether it's through this type of thing right here. People say I'm a baby. I'm not a baby. I'm a grown ass man, but I'm still a baby. And so loneliness is something that we need to talk about, right? So, like I said, it can be bad for your cardiovascular health, can lead to depression, anxiety, and this goes to show that people who live long, and people who are satisfied with their life, they have some sort of human connection with somebody. The primary way to get it right is probably through like a long-term relationship with your spouse, or whoever like is your partner. And also having like a supportive family and friends, maybe like a good church, a good church where you have like people that you can break bread with, or like a good, maybe the school is your support system, or maybe your coworkers. But it's important to have people around us. It's extremely important to do that, and that's something that I want to talk about, because sometimes people get to this and someone says broken heart syndrome is yeah, it is, Ben. It's actually a thing. Like it's like physically painful to be like hurt, right? Or to be by yourself. And Julia, I completely agree. And that's why it's important to have a network of people. So we're talking about Valentine's Day, right? And we're laughing at some of these stories, but you got to understand that whether you're solo or whether you're with somebody or whatever the case is, just being by yourself, or sometimes people, like I see in society today, where people are kind of like a, maybe by themselves, like a loner or like a lone wolf, and you take on that personality to where you're like, all right, I'm by myself, and like I'm always by myself, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? You could be introvert, but maybe you get connection from talking to people like online, like maybe you get connection from um, you know, calling people, FaceTiming people. Jen says, I enjoy my solitude. Social settings take too much energy. There's nothing wrong with that, Jen. And even for me, you all might be shocked, but sometimes, sometimes I feel like I'm an introvert. I'm not gonna lie. And I'm not going Hollywood or famous on you all, but it's like as I post so much content online, it takes up more and more of my time. And of course, I still do go out because it's important to go out and I try new things. But when I get in a social setting, like I'm fine. I love talking to people. All that's, I'm having a good time. Like I go out and I introduce myself to people, and so I'm not like your classic introvert. But once my social battery runs out, then I'm tired. Then I'm like, oh my goodness, like I gotta go home. It's a limited amount. Like I go out every day with maybe like 65, 70% social battery. Once I get to 5, 10%, I'm like, I gotta go inside. I'm tired. I gotta go inside. I'm tired, And Ashley says, I wouldn't. So yeah, you know. So I mean, most likely by definition, I'm probably an extrovert. But I'm just saying that there's that part of me that enjoys solitude, like having that protected time to just sit down there with my thoughts and to just focus. And even, I'm obviously, like I talk about having ADHD, but even without that, just as an individual who is working on a lot of different things, I'm working on making videos for you on a consistent basis. I'm still seeing patients part time. I have this book coming out this year. So, like, there's going to be times when I will, I don't know, go to Malibu for a weekend and just like clear my head and write a book, write portions of the book that I need to get done. So there's nothing wrong with taking that time for yourself, but it is good to find your people in a sense, and that's one thing that I want you all to like to think about. So like when you think of your people, who are like the 5 to 12 people who are the most important in your life, you know. And let me see, if you want to challenge poor liver. Poor liver from what? Like with drinking or time to oh yeah. Amy, yes, Amy, sometimes you get people out. It's you can get people out. So like that's something that I might catch myself doing, but normally it doesn't happen too often, because if I go out, like if I stepped out and I'm fancy and I look good and I feel good, I'm planning to do as many things out as possible, because like you do all that stuff and you come back home and then like you're tired and then you want to go back at it again, and I'm like, "Oh, I can't go back out." Monica says that's pretty much how my energy, right? And there's nothing wrong with like getting tired like that, but the goal is to figure out like how can we get, and that's my question to you all, and I want you all to interact with me on that. How can we get that interaction with other people, and how can we do it without stepping out of the house? But keep in mind, if you don't step outside the house, and then even when you meet that person, sometimes it's a little awkward, right? Because I've met a lot of social media friends in real life, and then when I meet them for the first time, like you're kind of awkward. Like, are we gonna like dab up or like fist bump or like hug, or sometimes people are like, "Oh, I didn't know you were that tall." I'm like, I didn't know that I looked like I was 5'2" in my videos. I don't know. I don't even know. And let me see. I agree. Social settings. Yeah. Oh, right, Judy. Yeah, if you're working on something like that, looks like it's a big thing. That campaign, it can take, social settings can take a lot out of you. Like, trust me, I know. And there's sometimes when I might have to go a week or two where I'm not interacting with people as much. Now, I'm not barricaded in the house, but I'm doing my thing because maybe I'm trying to meet some deadlines. I know that by going out, it'll pull a little bit out of me. And Daniel says, "Can we pre-order your book?" Speaking about the book, there's actually the Simon and Schuster. Actually, I'll put that in later. Like they put my name up on the Simon and Schuster like website under the author portal, and they threw the cover of the book online. I did not know that they were going to do that. I thought that was like a surprise, and then I looked online and the whole world has seen the cover of the book. So I'm like, okay, sure, cool. Like, yeah, go ahead and pre-order it. I'm gonna put that link out there for you all. It'll be great for y'all to pre-order the book. It's a mental health workbook. I'm putting my heart and soul into it because it has my name on it. So I want the book to represent me out. And in the book, I speak like I want you all to feel me through the book. So that's the goal right there. Samantha says, "Wait, I'm new. You have ADHD." Oh, Samantha, where have you been this whole time? Samantha must be new. Austin, I appreciate you. Thank you so much, my guy. Oh, and my first book. Yes, my first book is available on Amazon. It's called "You Already Won." That one is easy to plug in. Um, it's an old book though. It's an old book, but it's a good one. It's Amazon, or it was an Amazon bestseller when it first came out. And yeah, that book changed my life because it gave me the confidence. In that book, I talk about having ADHD and I talk about my own personal struggles. So that book really changed my life, and it gave me the confidence to start posting on social media and to be prolific with it. So yeah, that book means a lot to me, and I'll just drop a link in there if you like it. Check it out. If not, no worries. How tall are you? 6'3". Uh, yeah, so check out that book. Let's see. Yeah, you already won. That's the link in there. Yes. Rachel moves fast. Yes. The name of the book coming out is called Feeling Good. So you must have Googled it, Rachel. Rachel moves fast. I gotta give you love the show for just taking the time and effort to go ahead and do that. I really appreciate that. We plan to make this book, a big deal. So I would love to, when you sign a book deal, they pay you in advance. And at first, I didn't know too much about advances, so I was like, oh wow, they gave me the check, but like advances mean that you have to make the money back, right? So we have to, people have to buy the book, and I'm pretty confident that they will. But I want to make sure that people get value from the book. I'm not just gonna. I don't expect you all to buy something that has my name on it just because it has my name on it. I have to show up every single day, and I have to, I have to earn it. I have to earn it. Um, I got yes, Judy. Yeah, I gotta give you love the show. You're right. And sometimes I forget that too. We're talking about Valentine's Day and showing love, and sometimes it's important to show love to yourself. And I don't know, there's something about when you're doing things that are, you know, kind of like larger than life or bigger than yourself. It's hard to sit down and like smell the roses. Like it's hard for me to sit down and be like, oh, I have this many followers, or we've done this, or we've written this book. Because like I'm still in the process of doing it. Like I'm still like I still have many more at bats. So I'm not like ready to like hang it up and like start counting accomplishments. But it is good to stop and use this day to show love to myself. So I definitely I do appreciate that. I do appreciate that. Thank you so much. And 63. This is funny right here. This is funny. Resident 63, your videos make you look so pocket so pocket sized. Stuff you about pocket and desk. So I like that. I like that. That's funny. That's really funny. Right. So talking about ways to show yourself love, what are some ways that you all would say to show yourself love, right? And I'm even asking for myself, right? But from you all's perspective, what are some good ways to show uh, yourself some love? Yeah, Bo McFarlane, I agree. I agree. It's very important. Thank you for Aaron. Aaron, I appreciate that. Uh, Cruise in Paradise. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And no, it was I sent that girl in 2015 roses. It was not $80. You know. Yeah, Judy. Yeah, I gotta be honest with myself. Because it's one thing to lie to other people, is nothing to lie to yourself, right? And you have to be upfront with yourself and ask like, where am I at? Where am I doing well? And what more do I need to do to get to where I want to be? And a lot of times, you overestimate what you need to do to get to your goal, and you kind of give yourself, or you shortchange yourself when it comes to what you've done so far. you know so I'm listening to you all, you all's favorite ways to do self-care. We have Megan says, worship is a good form of self-care. And we'll talk about religion a little bit. We're gonna have a live set apart for religion. I think, because just like by being religious, there are mental health benefits to that. And there's certain denominations that like tend to live longer. And when you break it down, you can ask, is it because they're religious? I don't know. Like, is it because they follow like a set of guidelines? So they hear by certain rules. So they're not maybe drinking, or maybe they cut out pork, or whatever the case is. So I do think that there is some benefit, to religion. And obviously, I'm a Bible believing Christian, so I mean that's my belief. But there is something to be said about that. Rachel says binge watching Netflix. Okay, that's a form of self care. And I just watched. This is the Tinder Swindler. We're gonna have a live dedicated to that. It might even be tomorrow. We might talk about the Tinder Swindler and manipulation, because I watched it and I I was shocked. I was shocked. I was shocked. Ooh, Jamie. Jamie gets to love the show. Boundaries. Boundaries are a form of self care. I gotta give you that one. Taking time to knit instead of mindlessly scrolling on social media. That's a good way of implementing self care. I like that. I take mental health days from work. I like that as well. And I don't even work 5 days a week anymore for real. Like I mean, I'm always on Monday through Friday, but I get the majority of my stuff done within 3.5 days, so that my brain can like recharge, so that way I can think of content for you all. Hanging out with my dog is self love. Dog walks, snuggles. Yeah, getting a dog is next level. Like my dog, she's annoying 80% of the time, but I would never give her up. I just love her too much. Helping others makes me happy. That's self care. Danielle, I believe that is a form of self care. Believe it or not, because the boost you get, to your self esteem and the confidence that you get from helping people is, there's something to be said about that. The only thing I would say about this particular one is, if helping people makes you happy, right? What are ways that you can directly help yourself? Because, and I'm not saying that this is good, like this comment is great right here, but a lot of times when people enjoy helping other people, it's you kind of struggle to find ways to help yourself. And I mean, I'm a therapist, so like obviously I feel like I get that one. I feel that one. And Tammy says, I have a very hard time with self love. It's very challenging for me. Well, Tammy, shout out to you for acknowledging that. So now it's a matter of, you've nailed down the problem. So it's like, what type of actionable steps can you take to show some love to yourself? Like what do you enjoy doing? If somebody gave you $5 million right now, Tammy, what would you do? You no longer have to work. You woke up, and somebody was knocking at your door, and it said, Tammy, we're gonna give you $5 million. Go chase your dreams, right? Turn this off so I'm not messing up the show. Somebody gave you $5 million. What would you do? Would you keep working? Would you, sometimes that makes things clear when you have money, you have the time. Now what would you do? People are saying happy birthday. It's not my birthday. I don't know what people talking about. Um, I don't find much time for myself because I'm always busy with my kids. Now, Brittany, this is something that I'm gonna talk. We're gonna have another live for parenting, and when I speak about parenting, I'm talking about the things that I've picked up, from just being a clinician and helping out, patients, and the things that I've learned from hearing their stories. Obviously, I don't have any kids, but there's a balance that comes with having kids, and it's one thing that I thought was kind of interesting. Like anytime I see my patients, I kind of like take notes. Like I try and figure out like what's the common denominator with all these patients. And a lot of times when parents hit that stage where the kids are like 18, 19 and leave the house, it's almost like an identity crisis, because you've spent 2 decades of your life pouring into like a little person who grew up to be a big person. And now you have to figure out how to take care of yourself again. And I put myself in my patient's shoes one time when that was the exact situation, and I was like, "This is scary as shit. Like, how do we start over? At 54 and learn how to take care of ourselves." So don't feel bad about that, Brittany. You're on the right track. You're definitely on the right track. Um, Beginning to practice some positivity. I'm learning from you. Self love for me, self hate. Yeah. Julian, you don't want to hate on yourself, or doubt yourself, right? Just gonna be practical with certain things, but you want to always be your biggest cheerleader. Um, Always be your biggest cheerleader. Jan said, I have 6 dogs. So Jan, I don't know how you're pulling this off. No pun intended with your last name, but 6 dogs is a lot. I have one, but for some reason I've been thinking about getting another dog. Um, and I think my dog needs like a big sister, because I wouldn't do a puppy again, but I think I could adopt like a, I don't know, maybe it's an impulsive decision, so maybe I should take some time to think about that before I you know go try to purchase a dog. Um, ooh, somebody asked me a good question right here. Ooh, yeah. I give you, I love the show right there. How do I manage my own anxiety? Uh, let's see. Uh, let's see what's it. Oh, and it's funny because one thing that I do, I don't know if my other ADHD people can um, relate to this. If somebody sends me an important message that I need to reply to, I won't open it because if I open it, I'll forget to reply to it. So I'm like, oh no, I have to reply back to that for this weekend, blah blah blah. So I won't open it. So weird thing about me, but hopefully some of y'all can relate. But I like this question right here. Megan says, "How do you manage your anxiety?" Good question, good question. And let's talk about that for a little bit because you know sometimes a form of self love, right? If we're staying on the topic of Valentine's Day and self love, one way to practice self love is by managing your anxiety. Because anxiety, it'll tell you a couple of lies, and it'll paralyze you. You won't have the wherewithal to keep pushing and do things. And since I've been in LA, I've been since what? So I've been in LA for what, 13 months now. It's been the most successful 13 months of my life. Like everything is taken off, but it's been the most anxious time of my life. Like every day is like, well, not every day because it was a great day, but a lot of my days are very anxious, and sometimes I don't know why, and sometimes I can't point to like what's making me anxious, right? And sometimes I do know why, like having 2.5 million followers is like, the wrong thing said, you're done, right? The wrong headline that goes out, you're done. Making a video and maybe it being misinterpreted, right? And I got a lot of kids who follow me. I would never want to like miss the point to where like people take it the wrong way. So that will bring you a fair amount of anxiety. And just being in this space, like nobody, like when I went to school, right? I went to school to learn how to take care of people. I didn't go to school to learn how to, like do these skits or the dances or the acting or learn how to negotiate deals with companies and, do all this other stuff. So like I'm learning by doing. And I tell anybody who wants to get into this space that the cost of entry is really just embarrassment. You have to be willing to be embarrassed. So allowing myself to be embarrassed helps out my anxiety, believe it or not. And if let's say you're afraid of something, right? Whatever you're afraid of, sometimes you'll get some medications, right? But Klonopin, Buspar, and Visceral only go so far. Those are all great meds. I give those to my patients, right? But therapy, and exposure therapy, like gradually exposing yourself to that thing that you fear, until you realize that you're stronger than that thing. You were always stronger than that thing, but you just never like took hold of it, So by inching a little bit closer to the things I'm afraid of, allow myself to be embarrassed. If I post a video and I don't like it and it flops, we're gonna keep it online, right? And you're gonna have the video that has like 2,000 views next to the one that has 9 million views. I don't really care because like these things are boosting my confidence over time. So yeah, as you gradually expose yourself to the thing that you're afraid of, you're gonna realize that you were stronger than that thing anyway in the beginning. You just didn't know it, And even my dog, in the crate, I was afraid of dogs for the longest, and now I take my dog to the dog park, and there's all these big dogs running around, and I'm just like sitting around, just like just like walking, and I tell myself like, yo, like 2 years ago, I would have never been in a space with all these big dogs, like these Great Danes. I mean, they're not Great Danes, but there's some big ass dogs. You get the point. So by moving towards the things that you're afraid of, that's how you can keep in mind. Action defeats anxiety, right? So anxiety is going to leave you kind of like paralyzed and like stuck in thought. Action is going to defeat anxiety. So I'm very happy you asked that question, Megan. Because yeah, like it took me like a couple of months to realize it, but I was like, yo, why am I so anxious like every day? Because I never really had anxiety until I came here. But the majority of the anxiety is good anxiety. I will say that it's not debilitating to the point where everything stops. So anxiety, just as it is, like a little bit of it is good. It keeps you alive longer, right? Because of anxiety, to have this sense of urgency, right? That those of us with ADHD thrive off of. But too much anxiety, right? Generalized anxiety, panic disorder, when anxiety like has engulfed you, we're gonna have a problem at that point. Amanda says, I need a notebook when I watch these. Amanda, hey, take out your notebook. I got my Titans pen right here. Can y'all see it? Yeah. I was upside down. I want y'all to see it. Tennessee Titans. I got my Titans pen out here. You know, take out your notebook. Class is in session. Let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk. Yeah, action defeats anxiety. Keep that in mind. Your anxiety is lying to you, but if your brain has believed a thing, can't anybody tell you anything else? Because like that's just what you're gonna. That's what you're gonna believe, right? You're gonna believe that. You don't want to believe that thing. So that's why it's difficult. Like even like besides having anxiety, like dealing with people who have anxiety, like in your intimate space, right? Because you get frustrated, like you're like, go, do. And it's not that they can't, they can, but they're not aware of the fact that they can, so they won't do it. But then they'll say that they can't do it. And when you say you can't do something, that means it's impossible. Right? If I say I can't hit, I don't know, 1 million followers on Facebook, that means I can't. Clearly, I can. It's a matter of time. But when you say I can't, you gotta be careful of the things that you say. Like I can't, like people, like the words you say are important, right? Like I can't get this job, or I can't, you know, get this person, or it's, speaking of Valentine's Day, saying so and so's out of my league. I hate that phrase. Like nobody's out of your league. Like people put their pants on, one leg at a time. Like, you can't keep putting these limits on yourself. You can't put these limits on yourself. I'm from Tennessee. I grew up in Nashville. Tennessee. But I was born in Ghana, West Africa. Then we moved to Norway. I spent my formative years out there. So maybe after about 5 or 6 years, we moved to Nashville, Tennessee, and I moved in 1999. So naturally, I became a Titans fan, and that was like my first American thing. So that's why my relationship with the Titans is so like it's heartfelt. Like I could cry if we won the Super Bowl. Like I might be crying, and you all are like, "Why is he crying?" I'm like, "I don't know why I'm crying. I'm just crying." You know. You have to put your hand behind it to show something close up. Oh my gosh. Katie, I'm going to put you to the test. Let's see if this works. It's all right. It's all right. At least you tried, Katie. Or you got to put your hand behind the pen. All right. All right. Y'all got it. Y'all got it. Y'all got it. Oh boy. Let me see. And let me see. All right. Let me answer this question right here because it is Valentine's Day. So anything that can be done for couples is something that I like. Let's get it, Emily. Let's talk. I love your videos. Something to put in the back burner. My husband has seizures, and I can usually tell when he's stressed and going to have one. I just talk him through it with soothing words. Is there any advice I can give him so he knows when one is coming? All right. So here's my thing. This is where my mind goes to first, Emily. You can tell when he's stressed and when he's about to have one, right? So would you not think that he can tell? I'm just asking, like, can he tell when he's about to have a seizure or okay, so we're talking about seizures here. Like, I don't know the nature of the seizures, right? And we're looking for advice that you can give him so he knows when one is coming. All right. So in terms of when one is coming, I'm not sure because I'm not sure. There's different types of seizures. Grandma seizures. I mean, the seizure landscape can get pretty diverse. But in terms of like you helping him out in this situation, first of all, I think that I'm pretty convinced that anything you do is going to be helpful because like you already care. For you to be asking this question, it means that you care. I would say that if you notice, like sometimes when people have seizures, like like sometimes they'll have like this blank stare. I don't know if like maybe he can see us coming on, or maybe if he knows what like triggers it, right? And if he has insight into the nature of his medical condition, then even better. Right, the aura. But if he doesn't know, that it can be difficult. But still, by being there, like for him to know that he's safe around you, I think that goes a long way, right? So like let's just say he's having a seizure. This is not medical advice, but if he's having a seizure, right, and let's say he has bad ones, right, and you kind of know that, he's gonna have a seizure, right? And then you clear the area, nothing is in the way, he's all good. And then he knows that, okay, my wife did this for me. I think sometimes people just want to know that somebody has their back, so just letting him know that you have his back, and you're willing to do whatever you can do to help him have more insight into his medical condition. And let him know that, like, it's okay to to struggle, right? And of course, like, I'll hope that he's getting medical attention, and putting himself in the best possible position to handle this situation. But just know that somebody has your back goes a long way, and also, as men, we don't talk a lot about, like, struggling with certain things, right? So there might be like a fair level of like embarrassment that goes with maybe having to rely on your wife, when you feel like helpless and powerless. So just him knowing that you're there and you're non-judgmental, I think that goes a long way. So um, he is, yeah, okay, that's awesome. So as long as you have this is great. As long as you have the medical attention, and like he knows that you have his back. I think that's sometimes, as men, knowing that our women have our back, like, we can take over the world, when we know that. Um, okay, let me hear this one from Valerie. Okay, I need advice. I have a problem with self love. I feel like there's an inner demon telling me I'm not worthy. I've tried to reach out for help recently. I have bad anxiety and feel like I'm not in control of my life. I'm so unorganized. Help. I need advice. All right, Valerie, let's talk about it. So, like I said earlier in the stream, it's gonna be hard to practice self love. I mean, it's not impossible, right? But it's kind of hard when anxiety is ruining your life. And it's gonna feel like you're not in control of your life. But the truth, hear me out. We were never really in control of our lives. Even before COVID. We never. Of course, like, you control your immediate life, but like there's a great deal of things that we don't actually control, and being okay with that can lead to like some sense of inner peace. So I think the first thing for you to do is sometimes, and this is not medical advice. I always have to preface anything I say by saying that, but like, who are you surrounding yourself with? Like, when you hang out with people, do they make you feel better or worse? Like, who's your support system? Like, who's rooting for you? And I tell people all the time that it wasn't until I grew up that I realized what my mom did for me. She did an amazing thing for me. She would verbally hype me up. She would say that my siblings and I, we would do great things in this country. And we were immigrants, coming from Ghana. So I'm like, what? I'm like, I got a funny name, and I had bad teeth back then, and I was like tall and like lanky and awkward. So I was like, what do you mean that I'm gonna do great things in this country? But well, what my mom did for me, like, it means a lot. And I mean, when I have kids, I would love to do that same thing for them. I will do that for them. I'm going to tell them that they're great. And that doesn't defeat anxiety. It doesn't ensure that they're going to love themselves 100%. But when you have people who are speaking these things into you, it goes a long way. Sometimes it does more than the medication. I'm a big proponent of meds help, right? So I'm not anti-med. So I don't want y'all to ever think that. But just having people that support you, reaching out for help is a good move. I like that. Because when you're in control of your life, or when you're in control of the things that you can control, your confidence is going to go up, and then you can start to put the pieces together. That you won't be as as disorganized as you feel like you are. So I would say keep going, take it one day at a time. Understand that you got into this jam. You feel like you're in a jam right here, right? But these things kind of happen like one at a time. So likewise, you're gonna kind of put your life back together like one at a time. So good question. And Valerie, I'm rooting for you. I'm rooting for you. I think that I appreciate that. I appreciate that, and that's why I come back here every single day and I do this. And this is a confidence booster for me as well. Like, if I was doing things, like if I was trying to fish online for you all, my confidence would be shot because I don't know how to fish, right? So I just stick to what I believe I'm good at, and this feedback lets me know that, okay, somebody's is benefiting from it, so we're gonna keep it pushing. Um, Courtney, we're not going anywhere with these videos. I'm gonna keep making them. That's my job. That's my job, Courtney. I appreciate that. Um, Holly says, I try to find at least one positive, even in a bad situation. So Holly gets to love the show right here because this is a superpower. Mickey Ficky, I really like this one. And I don't know if you all were on the live a while back, but on the live, maybe it was last week or the week before, but I was explaining that with like depressed people, a lot of times I see like a fixation on the negative. I think I told the story last week, or this example. Like you can give a depressed person sometimes nine amazing things and one negative thing, and they'll lock in on the negative thing, and they'll be stuck on that, right? And that might be something that we don't want, right? But if that person, we gave them a little bit of support, then maybe the perspective could open up a little bit, and then they start to notice, oh well, this really sucks, and it's okay that this sucks. We'll work on it, but there's nine other amazing things that are happening right now. So like that's my goal sometimes with people who are like depressed. Like, can we what can we do to make you a little bit more hopeful, right? Or a little bit more curious. What can we do to make you feel a little less helpless? These are some of the key things you want to do to help improve their perspective so that they can see that, okay, people care about you. People want to help you out. So that's the goal of, a clinician, to help people out like that. So if you can find at least one positive thing in a bad situation, um, like that's a superpower. That I use that trick. Because like I tell y'all, like life is not perfect. Life is not a game. Like we come out here and we dance and all that stuff, but life is not a game. Like it's tough decisions every day. You have to have difficult conversations. You have to set boundaries with people you love, which is not easy at all. So if you can find a positive in a bad situation, you can at least rest with that. So that's a superpower right there. I like that. Um, Ben right here. Shout out to Ben for being vulnerable because Ben's a guy. I hate this holiday because it makes me feel like I'm being reminded that I'm not good enough or valuable enough to be in a relationship. All right, Ben. So let's explore this a little bit, Ben. Where is this thought process coming from? I hate this holiday because it makes me feel like I'm being reminded I'm not good enough or valuable to be in a relationship. And I want to stay with this a little bit because I'm a little bit curious to see like where the mindset's coming from. Is it coming from social media? That was my first thought. But I mean, you can't always attribute everything to social media. If I'm peeping the comments, someone said Happy Single Awareness Day. Okay, well we can call that. But I'm peeping the comments to see if you reply. But it's important to, like, if you feel this way, Ben, there's nothing wrong with feeling that way right now, right? Obviously, like we would like to change that, but sometimes it can be helpful to sit down there and explore where these feelings are coming from, right? So I'm gonna take. I'm not gonna use you, Ben. I'm just gonna take anybody, right? Any person who feels this way because they're reminded that they're not good enough or valuable to be in a relationship. So keep in mind that you know you're gonna wake up tomorrow and Valentine's Day is gonna be over. So after February 14th, you have February 15th, and it's a regular Tuesday. The sun comes up, people go about their business, and people are living their life, right? So when you look at it, if you're able to look at it from a rational perspective, right, you can understand that wow, one one day is making me feel like shit. And it's just one day. Think about it. One day is making me feel like shit. And this is like my team getting to Super Bowl and then we lose at the last second, right? I'm like, oh no, like it's the worst thing in the world, right? But it's not the worst thing in the world. But for you, it feels like that. And because it feels like that, I respect it. I respect it. And I'm looking here at your next comment. I've never been in a relationship on Valentine's Day and seeing all the couples out on this day or seeing everything being about couples romance. So this is something I will definitely say, uh, probably social media driven, but it's still something about you. Like you want that thing, right? And there's nothing wrong with wanting it. There's nothing wrong with people having that relationship, whether it's happy or not, but it's okay to realize that, wow, like the thing I like about you, Ben, and you're making yourself vulnerable, right? This is a live stream, like on average, maybe 8 to 10,000 people watch this, like every night. That's what the numbers tell me. So you're putting yourself out there, which is very difficult as a man. So I applaud you. And these feelings are not exclusive to just women. Anybody can feel like this, and it's important to, first of all, if you can, right? Don't push it. But if you can, to detach yourself from the idea that somebody being happy means that you're not worthy of being happy. If that makes sense, right? It's kind of like rooting for other people while you don't have that thing. But is people don't talk about that a lot. Like it's uncomfortable to talk about that. It's really hard to be happy for somebody who has a certain thing and you don't have that thing, but you want it in the worst way. It's hard to be authentically happy for them. And like this is how I knew that I had to leave Virginia and move to LA and to pursue social media because I would have been envious of Kojo today if I'd stayed back. And if I'd stayed back, I would have said, oh, I was too afraid to go to LA and chase my dreams. So I'm envious of Kojo, right? Because he has that thing. So likewise with the relationships, there's nothing wrong with wanting it, you know, and there's nothing wrong with even feeling a little bit of jealousy, right? But then you feel that feeling and you catch yourself, and then you're like, okay, there's nothing wrong with feeling that way. I feel that way in this moment, but now what am I going to do to like make myself feel a little bit better about myself, right? What am I going to do to make myself feel a little bit better about myself? And the thing I've learned with um, dating is that like you can actually be in a relationship and feel lonely AF. Like you can feel miserable and you can appear to look happy, right? But perception is reality. So if somebody looks happy online and they're not happy in real life, people online are seeing that they're happy, and not because social media, you're so hyper aware of the fact that everybody is happy and you're not happy, right? So it's important to rationalize it if you can, but it's also good to get to the root of that particular issue. And you said the few times I felt I was dating someone, they've ignored the holiday and didn't do anything for it. And this is something that I had to learn uh, out myself. I had to learn this personally because sometimes things mean a lot to certain people, right? So like me, like back in the day, what I would do is, of course, I'm out here, I'm dancing for y'all, but like what I would do is I did not know what Valentine's Day meant to like the person I was dating at that time, right? So I was just an asshole, right? I was like, you know, but it's like in a relationship, sometimes the best thing you can do is just to listen to your person, right? So if Ben, if the person you were talking to at that time listened to you, then they would have known that, hey, for whatever reason, Ben wants you to do something nice for him on Valentine's Day. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? This goes beyond the fact that people make so much money off of it. That's what I don't like about Valentine's Day. People flood these commercials and they force you to like buy, right? But if you want to buy, you have the desire to do something, or somebody wants to do something for you, there's nothing wrong with that. So it's important to just listen to people. And as I've gotten older, I've learned, to just listen. Like sometimes the answer is like hiding in plain sight. So Ben, I'm sorry that you went through this experience, and it's important to be validated, right? Like it's a pretty shitty feeling to feel like nobody wants you, right? Nobody talks about that online. People just say happy single, what's it called, awareness day, or like I don't know. People have things to say, um, but nobody talks about how difficult it is to watch people like succeed. And I'm looking at this comment that he said, I had 3 different friends all get engaged last year, and it just hit so hard and made me so sad. I need y'all to hype up Ben in the chat, in the comments. Hype up Ben. I'm gonna go ahead and give him a love to show. I'm gonna give him a love to show. We gotta hype him up. We gotta hype him up. Ben, check out the comment section and see there's a lot of people who care about you and a lot of people who want you to do well. And this is a conversation I really want to have. Like if let's say you just got out of like a 4 year relationship, right? I'm going into story mode. You got out of a 4 year relationship where you had the rings picked out. You were gonna marry this person. You had the baby names picked out. You had the house picked out. All this stuff, and for whatever reason, your relationship doesn't work out, right? Can you expect that person to hop on Instagram, right, and then take their phone and then they're scrolling and like, oh my gosh, Samantha got engaged. Vanessa got engaged. Uh, Jasmine got engaged. Like, you're not gonna expect that person to be happy. Like, I don't know. And anybody who says that is, you're not being realistic. We gotta be realistic here. You're not gonna be truly happy because like you're hurting, you're in pain, and you shouldn't like rain on that person's party, but you should be validated in your feelings, so I definitely, I see where you're coming from, and that's what, like, that's the point of this live. Like, I want people to watch this, on the playback, and just think about ways to show yourself love. And I think as men, it's really difficult to Ben, you see there's a lot of people showing you love in the chat. There's a lot of people showing you love. Check it out, man. A lot of people, and these are strangers out here showing you a lot of love. Someone said my hubby and I are getting divorced. He told me to F off. Oh, Mickey Ficky. Ooh, why did he say that? Mickey Ficky. But yeah, Ben, and it's difficult. And as guys, it's hard to like wrap our wrap our heads around our feelings, right? And this is hard for me too, right? Like, I'm not superhuman, like I would still benefit from therapy like anybody else could benefit from therapy, so it's important to just understand that don't let these things define you, right? But there's nothing wrong with wanting that thing. There's nothing wrong with wanting, a relationship, so just know that people got your back. There's a lot of love in the chat, Ben. A lot of love. Been single for 8 years. Hey, Ben. And like, for me, that's the thing I enjoy about this type of platform the most. Getting to do this type of thing where we can talk to people, and it's incredibly helpful for me too. Like, even people saying that I should show some love to myself and like sit back and realize what I've accomplished. These are all good things, and like I told y'all a couple weeks ago, like when I watch TV or I look for mental health shows, like I could not find any show like this. Like, I couldn't find people talking about like, like real stuff, like it's always kind of like contrived or fabricated, and like these are real people, real issues. We're getting to the heart of it, so like, and people feel this way, on Valentine's Day. It's really easy to feel worthless on a day like this, so for the people who don't understand, why it's such a big deal, I think it's important to understand that it might be a big deal to somebody else. You might not care about it, but like if that's your person, like you should, So like this is me talking to like 2017 Kojo. Like you have to figure out what people want, and just having just the feeling of not being wanted. That's one of the worst feelings of all time, right? And I'm not even talking about just in a romantic relationship. Before I had my little growth spurt, and then I got tall. I'd go on the basketball court, and like to be the last kid picked, like that would, like I remember being in second grade and wanting to cry because like I was the last kid picked, and like I remember my eyes watering up, and I'm like, all right, you can't cry, coach. You're like, the guys are watching. Like I was gonna cry because they picked me last in basketball. It doesn't make any sense, right? But it's still the same type of feeling. Like that, or you feel like people don't want you, and you feel like people can see that. It's all coming from the same type of, same type of place within, and it's an awful feeling. It's an awful feeling, and 100% of the time, it's false, right? Now that one person might not want you, that one team might not want you to play back. No, but like people in general, people want you. So it's just about finding your tribe, finding your people, Yeah, someone said, poor Kojo. Yeah, I was hurt. I was like, man, like, and I started reading Michael Jordan autobiographies because I was trying to figure out how to get tall. And I learned that Michael Jordan would stretch his feet out at night to grow tall. So I started to do that because I wanted to be tall. Like, my only, like, when I was praying to God, like, we go to church, and then my mom was like, all right, pray for what you want. Like, I only prayed, I'm like, God, just make me tall. Like, that was my only you know uh my only prayer. But I do have to get off. Got to take care of a couple of things. But this is a great live. This is a great live. Oh my gosh. And like, I'm looking at the comments. Somebody asked about ADHD. Oh, we have more ADHD streams coming. Don't worry, we have so much more of that. Man, I could go on and on. Like, this has been a great live. And it's been a very productive day for me. I feel like I got a lot done today. But yeah, the main takeaway point, find ways to love yourself better. And you can do that while being in a relationship or being out of one. But just that feeling like nobody wants you, or you're not wanted, like, it's a very corrosive thing. And sometimes we haven't made it okay to talk about that. So that's why, like, I'm inspired by Ben coming out to talk about that, because as a guy, that's really hard to talk about. It's hard, I'm not saying it's any easier for women. Please, let's not turn this into a debate. Please, please, please. I know somebody in the chat is gonna be like, so you mean that women have it? No, no. If you've been rocking with me, you know what I'm saying here. I'm just saying that I don't want to get to so and so has it harder, or all I'm saying is that feeling that you're not wanted is not a good feeling at all. And it's not an accurate feeling. Like, you can't tell me that you're sitting here and, like, out of all the people in the world, not one person wants you. Like, that's a lie. And even if you take it out of the romantic context, there's people who want you, and people who care about you, and people who want to support you. So that's my takeaway. Dang, it's been good live. I keep trying to, like, stay sometimes within like an hour, but I'm just having so much fun. But that's what I have to say for today, and we'll be back tomorrow, same time, of course, 6 p.m. in California, 9 p.m. on the East Coast. But thank you so much for rocking with me. I really appreciate you all. You all are, like, just by tuning in, you all are making my dreams come true. So, um, you know, not to get all sentimental, but, like, you all are, I really appreciate all the love that y'all have shown me. It means a lot, because it just means a lot. So thank you so much, you all, and have a fantastic rest of your Valentine's Day.